The San Miguel Fire Agency, the largest fire protection district in San Diego County, is in serious financial trouble. The financial crunch is so bad that even after cuts, the district is reportedly facing million-dollar deficits each year for the foreseeable future. In an effort to avoid insolvency, the district's board recently voted to enter into negotiations with CAL FIRE to contract out services to the state fire agency. What that could mean for both employees of the San Miguel Fire Agency and the 150,000 people the agency serves remains a contentious issue in the East County. I'd like to introduce my guests. First, Interim San Miguel Fire Chief Gary Croucher. Hello, welcome to the program.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Chief Croucher is taking the position of Interim Chief because Chief Aguiguillo is in the hospital after being injured in a motorcycle accident. I'd also like to introduce CAL FIRE Chief Tom Porter. And Chief Porter, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, Chief Croucher, if you could first give us an update on how Chief Aguiguillo is. He's been a frequent guest on our show. How's he doing?
He's having some tough times right now. He's obviously was in a serious motorcycle accident and transported to Palomar Hospital. He still remains in the ICU, and he's making some progress. We visited him first thing this morning, and it's going to take some time. He's got a couple uphill battles faced for him, but there's a lot of support for him. His family's with him. And I visited, like I said, this morning with him, and we definitely saw some positive progress with his recovery.
Well, I know here at Kpbs and our listeners wish him the best.
Thank you.
Now, let me, if I can, Chief Croucher, get some basics on the San Miguel Fire District. What area of the county does it cover?
We cover everything from the Spring Valley area, the Grossmont Mount Helix area, all the way out to the Dehesa corridor and out to the border of Jamul. It's about, like you said, 150,000 of residents, and it's about 47 square miles.
And about how many firefighters are in your department?
About 72 full-time firefighters, and we cover the district through 8 fire stations.
That's an important point. These are full-time professional firefighters. These are not volunteers at San Miguel. Is that right?
That's correct. But unfortunately, due to the financial restraint of the district, one of the stations is currently staffed with 2 full-time paid firefighters and then augmented with a reserve firefighter that we have within the fleet. And then we also had to close one of our fire stations now 2 years ago at Station 15. So that used to have a truck and an engine company there. It is now just staffed with a truck company.
Chief Croucher, tell us about the financial position that San Miguel Fire finds itself in today.
Well, I think when we're looking at this upcoming year, we're anywhere between a $1.2 and $1.4 million budget shortfall. And then next year it even goes up to the possibility of about a $2.4 million. And it's based upon property taxes. Our income that we receive comes straight from property taxes. We don't get any of the taxes that come from the sales taxes or anything else. About 98% of our budget is property tax based, and flat out the home values have gone down. And with the home values going down, the taxes that are paid by each one of the residents therefore goes down as well.
And I know Chief Guillo was quoted in one of the papers as saying that he doesn't expect to see those property values go up to where they were anytime soon.
No, as much as we would all love to see the property values of our homes go back up, it's going to take some time. They say it's one of the worst either recessions or depressions for quite some time, and that affects everybody. You drive through the middle of our district right now down Campo Road, and what used to be thriving businesses are now closed. And we're trying to, with us, look at the business sense of things as well and try to figure out how we're going to cope fiscally as well, and not just a short term, but a long term.
How have you tried to cut expenses at San Miguel?
Well, like I said, we've already closed one engine company that was out of our headquarters station. We've downstaffed our engine 23. The employees have given back both what the 9% PERS that was negotiated to get that. But that was given up. They've given up their holiday pay. They've given up any increase of cost to their medical insurance that goes up at this point. They pay 50% of the cost increase and some of those different things. But it's been some pretty significant givebacks by the employees.
And even so, earlier this year, San Miguel Fire Agency sent out a request for proposals to agencies to contract out fire services. I want to reintroduce CAL FIRE Chief Tom Porter. CAL FIRE submitted a proposal. Why would CAL FIRE want to do this?
Well, this is seen as a mutually beneficial cooperative agreement possibility for us. San Miguel is 50% of the district falls within state responsibility area. That's the wildland responsibility. Those areas east and south of the developed area of the district. And so we cooperatively fight fire there already. The state is also obligated to at least look into whether or not a proposal like this is of benefit to both the district, citizens, and the state before going ahead. And we did that assessment and found that this district very much is in line with the state mission.
Now, does CAL FIRE operate any other fire districts within San Diego County?
Within San Diego, we have 7 different contracts currently. The most notable are San Diego Rural, which butts up to San Miguel. Also, we serve Ramona, Valley Center, Deer Springs, and some other small districts.
Now, Chief Croucher, I'm going to quote Chief Gio again, at least paraphrase what he said in an article in the UT. He said, "This agency used to be the place to be for the top in firefighter compensation. Why did San Miguel ever pay as well as it did?"
Well, I think through the process, there's the negotiations that go on, and within negotiations, I think the district, and this goes back to the consolidation that we had in 1988 through the process, that we thought we were living within the means. The board set policies back then. There was different benefits that were already in place at the time of the consolidation. I think that's where people talk about lifetime medical benefits and some of those different things. Back in 1988, when we consolidated, those were in place, and those were being received by the employees there. They weren't negotiated away as property values were stable, and I think as property was one of the best investments that people forecasted, that we'd continue to be in a good spot right now. The fact is that the property values took a turn that nobody expected, including us and our board of directors, and that as time goes on, we started to make changes, but at the same point, we went out, we tried to address the public as far as Proposition A, which failed. The public voters said that they weren't willing to pay any additional fees, even to keep them at their current levels. So we've got to a point where we've got to decide what we're going to do to ensure the long-term viability of the district.
I think people are surprised to see that even with some cuts to the top salary, Chief Gio makes more than $10,000 more than the San Diego fire chief. And San Diego fire chief, of course, much larger staff and much bigger budget. How is that ever justified?
Yeah, I don't know if I can personally justify that or not. I think if you look at it, the district, when the last fire chief, Larry Kennard, retired, we went out, the board set some deals. They wanted to attract the best possible person for the job. I think we found him in Chief Gio. And particularly when they did that, it was set forth on what they were willing to pay, and that's where we were able to attract some of the different people to be able to actually apply for it.
There's been a lot said about, as you say, the benefits that have caused a lot of attention in this ongoing story about San Miguel Fire Agency's money troubles. And I'm just wondering, this lifetime health and dental benefits paid to union and board members, you explain it as the kind of the thing that you thought property values were just going to keep going up and up, even though most other agencies don't have these kinds of benefits.
Well, I think you'll find that some of the other agencies do have some of those benefits, and I think some of the things you'll find too is that the board of directors already has taken some different action that will eliminate that, not just for future employees, but it's for the current board members as well.
So what alternatives does San Miguel have other than outsourcing? Is that it?
Well, I don't know if that's the only one, but you need to look at all different options. I mean, I think the employees groups have come forward with some different ideas and what they're willing to take. The key are these short-term solutions, and that next year we're going to be in the same identical situation where we're trying to figure out, and we're going to be going back to the employees and asking them to take not only in addition to the 10% that they've offered up already, but an additional 5%, and where does that stop, and where do you find the long-term viability, and that you can to stop it so that we're not back in the same situation next year or the year after. And when it's come down and what we've looked at this point in time, the CAL FIRE agreement does bring that long-term viability.
I want to ask you both. I want to start out with Chief Porter. If an agreement is reached, if a deal is finally done, what does this really mean? What services will CAL FIRE provide to San Miguel?
We will provide all of the services that are currently being provided by the San Miguel District. We work for the board. We develop a level of service that the board requires of the department. So we effectively are just the workforce that would be inhabiting the fire stations and and responding on the apparatus, just the way San Miguel is now. And by and large, that's the same employees. The same employees will come over to CAL FIRE under our labor agreement and work at the same station, just under a different patch.
And how will that save money? Will the employees make less as CAL FIRE employees?
The compensation for a state firefighter is built on a 72-hour clock, or work week schedule. So the employees roughly will be making the same amount of money. They will be working more hours because of the different work week that we use. When you have a work week that covers more days of the week, it requires less shifts, and it also requires less overtime to fill the shifts that are not filled.
I see. So they'll be making less per hour and possibly less in overtime pay.
And we do our compensation not on a per hour basis calculation, but it's it's on a monthly.
And what kind of authority will CAL FIRE have in hiring and firing and salary negotiations? Would all of that authority pass to you?
All of that authority would pass through CAL FIRE, because these would now be CAL FIRE firefighters, and they would work under the Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, and they would all be covered under our labor group.
So what would the San Miguel Fire District actually still have under its own control?
Well, you also have the board of directors that remain in place that's able to remain the local control. You still have the election process there, and that they actually determine what the levels of service are. As time goes on, they look at the budget. They're able to evaluate. One of the things we're hopeful within this process is not just to get back to the sustainment of the long-term viability of the district, but immediately what happens is we get that third person back on Engine 23. We get that person that we can't afford right now. Then secondly, as we move forward, if we are able to see some of these cost savings that we're predicting at this point and hope to achieve through the negotiations, we hope that at some point we can get that Engine 15 back. And as we get Engine 15 back, that affects the call volumes that we're running. We're increasing our call volume that goes on as well. I mean, we're up at this point in time to about 9,000 calls a year through the 8 stations that we're running. So,
yeah. Now, I have heard that you have had some really rather emotional public hearings about this whole process, and I wonder, have either of you attended any of these meetings?
Yes.
Yes, you both have. What are the residents' concerns, Chief Porter?
Residents' concerns really, to me, and this is again from my perspective, is that they love their firefighters. They love their fire department. They love San Miguel as a fire department, and they see concerns with the state coming in, and they look at the financial stress that the state's on, and have concerns that the state's going to let the district down as well as their firefighters.
And what have you been saying to people about those concerns?
What the reality is that the district controls its own destiny, and the district will remain the district, the San Miguel district. We will supply the firefighters to run the district equipment and respond to the district calls. As I said, they will be the same employees that are already there. And I believe, and the state's position is that we will bring a stability to this.
Are they concerned that maybe if they're CAL FIRE employees, they're going to be pulled out of San Miguel to go somewhere else in the state during an emergency?
There is that concern as well, and what it means to be a district is that you set your own drawdown levels. So the district already has a level at which they will allow equipment to leave the district for a mutual aid to San Diego City or out of county assignment. And that won't change. We, on my other hat, my wildland fire hat, I have 18 fire stations that I serve that greater state need with, and San Miguel would not be shouldering that any differently than they are today.
I have to end it here. I want to ask you really quickly, Chief Croucher, when will these negotiations be over? Do you know?
Don't know. We're going to start our official negotiations here in 2 weeks, and as we have the appointments go forward, we're pretty confident that the proposal is already very close to what we expect, and I look forward to a cooperative working agreement between the two agencies.
I've been speaking with Interim San Miguel Fire Chief Gary Croucher and CAL FIRE Chief Tom Porter. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.